Hey.
All right, guys. Wyatt Hendrickson here.
You guys have obviously had a lot of good home crowds. Just kind of what was it like being the enemy, I guess, this past weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it really puts into perspective that you're going to get thrown in a hostile environment, and we're going to have some upcoming duels that are going to be in that same environment. It's just, for me, it doesn't change. I am pretty tunnel vision whenever I'm out there. I'm only focused on myself and my opponent and the wrestling match, and so I don't really get into the crowd too much. And if I do hear yelling and screaming, I always think it's always for me as well. So for me, it was nothing new.
Obviously, senior day sort of comes fast, especially it feels like you just got here. Just kind of what's it going to be like stepping out on the mat with it being your last time?
Yeah, it feels like it was just yesterday when I first got here, and now it's like, wow, time since August, time has flown by. But time flies when you're having fun. It just shows that it's a fun time wrestling here. We're competing well, and we're getting better at wrestling. We're having fun along the way. It's going to be I don't know. It's kind of gonna be sad. I feel like this went by. I definitely enjoyed the experience wrestling here at Oklahoma State for 1 year. It's going to be a little upsetting, but at the same time, of course, it's always going to be a bittersweet moment. But that's also not the last time I'm going to be stepping out on the mat. We're in Oklahoma State wrestling. We've still got Big 12, still got NCAA, so still looking forward to that.
Did you know? I'm sure you. Did you go through a formal senior day last year? Did you?
I did, yeah. So this will be like my second full senior day, which is kind of interesting. But it's kind of funny because I had my senior year. Now it's like my super senior year, so it's still kind of cool.
They give you a good frame picture or anything like that from senior day at Air Force?
Yeah, yep. I got it on my wall at my house. I got a picture of all of us. So I'm gonna have like senior and senior number 2.
One of my favorite moments of the duel Sunday was after your match was over and Quint Kessenich is interviewing you. And I think he asked you, can I call you second lieutenant? I thought that was pretty cool. And you responded, you sure can. I mean,
yeah, it was exciting. It really just, I kind of had in my brain, I was kind of thinking back like, wow, this is pretty sweet because whenever I've been wrestling and stepping out on the mat, it's like, I'm looking forward to that day of getting commissioned because that's the biggest goal over than everything. And now it's like, man, that feels awesome. I graduated the Air Force Academy and I'm still being able to wrestle again. So it was really, I kind of sat there for a second, I'm like, you can come with that. Actually, yeah, you can. It felt pretty good because, it's a rare occurrence. You ever have someone in college athletics that's already graduated and been commissioned. So it's just a blessing and a privilege to still be competing for Oklahoma State.
Feels like anytime you guys have started slow in the top half of your lineup, the bottom end of your lineup's been able to kind of pick up pace and secure the win for you guys. What can you say about the talent level you guys have in the back end of your lineup and how it's fared this year?
Yeah, I think from start to finish, we're stacked. I think sometimes for the smaller weights, there's a lot more, the factors are a lot more, it's more inches and ounces. For example, if for Troy, if we don't get him the exact food we need at this time and, the right time cutting weights, just the smallest stuff can change the whole outcome of a match. So I think from start to finish, we're heavily stacked, but obviously, the bigger guys, we're a little more, I'm not going to say consistent, but we're just bigger than the way we wrestle. And for example, heavyweight, if there's ever a scramble, there's really not going to be one. Versus a 125, it's every single time. So it is kind of nice having that back half of, we got DJ, we got Cam and Serber, and I like finishing off the match because I know that I'm going to go out there and most likely try to pin the guy, and the other guys know that too. So it kind of just, it feels good, but I still think we're from head to toe. We're going to put 10 really good wrestlers on the mat, Big 12s and NCAAs.
Does anything Dean Hamity or Dustin Plott do any more surprise you?
DJ always surprises me. He's out there just attack, and I actually mentioned that we had a little meeting with the team after the last duel, and I kind of we were talking about wrestling styles and how we can get better and keep trying to evolve our wrestling. And I was like, hey guys, if you want a great example, look at DJ. He goes out there and he doesn't let the other guy stopping one of his shots discourage him. He's going to go for another one, and a minute into the match, his opponents are broken because they're just like, there's nothing I can do against this guy that won't to stop him because DJ is so fast like that. So he really just, it's weird because he surprises me, but I'm so used to him surprising me. It's just that's the new standard.
It really, felt like this weekend for the first time you guys were tested over the weekend. What do you think about the way you guys were able to overcome that adversity and come out on top?
I think it's definitely best to feel that now versus at the NCAA tournament because you learn from every single experience. It's okay to learn from losses, but also you can learn a lot from wins too. So having some of those matches that test you a little bit more and take you the distance, they're good because you know, we want to have those experiences now so we can learn from them, and because we don't want to peak right now. We don't want to be wrestling our best right now. We want to wrestle the best when we step on the mat at the NCAAs.
It's called the Elite Athletes Program, right?
What was that?
Elite Athletes Program, that was it? Or
It's
called-
WCAP. It's the World Class Athlete
Okay,
Program.
okay.
Yep. So they are located down in San Antonio, Texas,
Mhm.
and it's part of the Air Force Service Center. So that's who I'm attached to. They're the people that allowed me to continue training here at Oklahoma State in college while still ultimately having the goal of being a 2028 Olympian.
Yeah, I was just about to ask if it was going to work the same way.
Yeah, so I'll be wrestling in college, but then I'll stay here at the RTC, the Regional Training Center here at Oklahoma State, training with Coach Taylor and all the guys, and so I'll still be here for the next 3 years.
So on Army WCAP, I think you see a little bit more of those guys. You're kind of the face of Air Force WCAP. Is there an extra layer of responsibility in kind of being that guy?
It's just unique and it's just kind of fun. So as WCAP is a universal term, the Army has it, which is most known for that. But we do have 2 athletes, myself and then Mitchell Brown. He was actually at Air Force while I was there. He's awesome, great fun dude, and I mean it just feels good because you know I'm still able to wear Air Force and USA and Oklahoma State on my chest. I can still represent what I stand for while still competing in college. So I mean I don't think there's any pressure at all there at all. It's kind of just like, hey, I'm here to have fun and do as best as I can along the way.
Do you feel being a little bit away from a base and like Robert was saying, you were called second lieutenant and you're probably not called that every day here, maintain your custom and courtesies, all your like stuff you trained to learn at the Air Force Academy, do you keep a pretty good hold on that even though you're a little bit separate from that here?
Yeah, it's kind of funny sometimes because I'm just used to the regular habits of yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir, and it's just kind of what I do. And whenever I've been in that environment, I've worn a uniform to school every single day for the past 5 years, so that's just kind of the standard for me. So it's kind of like whenever I do have those, because I still have emails and stuff I gotta do sometimes, and I'm like using yes sir copy, this, and then it's like I gotta remember when I communicate with Oklahoma State stuff, I don't have to have that big military up front. I get to be a little bit of a normal college student for a little bit.
Did it take any time to get used to not like having to walk around in the uniform when you got here?
It was a little different. I mean, I was just, what I've been used to. It obviously changed, but I mean, it was weird because the first day of school happened, and I'm like, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna wear, like shoes. I gotta have style now, so it's kind of difficult. I was like, it's so nice because you wake up and you're like, oh, I know what I'm wearing today. Get it on in 2 seconds, ready to go. So I was overthinking it. Cameron's got some style. And so I was like, Cam, does this look okay? it was funny, but it wasn't terrible.
You still keep a foot locker?
I have all my stuff in my box, yeah. So every once in a while, if I got to do something, I got to run down to my service space and tinker. I'll throw my boots on through the uniform, and it's kind of cool. So I have everything in the box, and I got my uniform hanging up, with my little lieutenant bar. So whenever I'm going through my close-up times, I'm just like, it just feels nice.
What did the first day fit look like?
Let's see. I wore jeans. I wore some Air Force Ones for shoes because they were more style shoes, and then I think I had a nice shirt, but then I just put on a t-shirt. Not hey, I'm not super fancy, but also more than a t-shirt. It's a fancy t-shirt,
Yeah.
So
What have you appreciated most about your experience wrestling at OSU so far?
it's a great group of guys. It's a lot of fun when you can go out there and train, and you're working your absolute butt off, giving 110% up there, and you sit down on the wall exhausted. You look next to it, and you got the whole team's doing the same thing. So just being in that environment, you have to have a good training environment like that to continue elevating your wrestling career. At Air Force I had that, but also if I wasn't here wrestling at Oklahoma State, I'd probably be in a smaller room with not as much guys. So being connected to a team that just has that warrior mentality, I mean, it makes it, even in duels and stuff that, it makes an impact on the rest of the guys, how you perform. I mean, it's individual sport, but we're also a team, and however you react or go to a situation like that, that affects the rest of your team as well. And I mean, we got a bunch of hammers on this team.
Is there, obviously you'll still be around, you still have big goals in wrestling, but is there anything that you're kind of dreading about the end of the year, I'm gonna miss this so much?
I think just the active competitions. I talked to Dayton Fix about this. I was like, hey man, how does it feel? Because you go from competitions every single week, for 4 or 5 months to maybe a couple competitions a year. So I think it's just I think it's exciting. I think at one point I'm like, man, it kind of sucks to compete all the time, but at the same time it's hey, I've been there, I've done that, and I get to move on in life and spend more time with, my girlfriend will be moving up here, and get to start about thinking, starting a family, and it's just stuff, exciting stuff. Not yet. But you get to kind of not start life, but begin more of your adult life outside of wrestling. Because I mean, wrestling's awesome, but I'm not gonna be doing this for the next 60 years. I mean, I don't think so as a coach. So it's kind of excited just to get the foot in the door to start my life.
Did you need to get that not yet in case your girlfriend's watching this later?
Just to get, well, I mean, she's like, come on. I do want to have a mini me running around, but it's gonna be 4, 5, 6 years before that happens.
You don't think you'd be? I think you'd be a hell of a coach.
I think it'd be fun. Just for my Air Force career, the way it's lining up, I think there might be a possibility for me to be a coach, but I mean that'd be at least 10 years down the road. I'm still very excited to start my career as an acquisitions officer and
Right.
whatever I decide to do in the Air Force. But I think as far as wrestling as an athlete, that'll most likely for sure be over after these 4 years. But I mean, if I get out and I get a sweet opportunity, I mean I might lace the shoes up and come coach again. Or coach for the first time, I guess, but come back to the mat.
Back to the mat.
Yeah.
All good, guys?
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thanks,
Thank you.